ESPN, Youngstown.
From ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. With the government shutdown now in its second week, the president tweeting, "I am in the White House waiting for the Democrats to come on over and make a deal on border security." And as ABC's Tara Palmieri tells us, the president has made a new ultimatum.
It's day 8 of the government shutdown, and neither side is willing to budge. Negotiations to reopen the government at a standstill with no end in sight before the new year. The deadlock over the president's demand for a border wall. Democrats refusing to pass a bill that includes funding for one of Trump's main campaign promises. And the president now raising the stakes, tweeting, quote, "We will be forced to close the southern border entirely if the obstructionist Democrats do not give us the money to finish the wall."
The death of a police officer killed during a traffic stop in Northern California Wednesday is also sparking new debate about immigration laws. Authorities say a Mexican man in the U.S. illegally killed the officer. ABC's Amanda Del Castillo was at the vigil last night in Newman, California.
In front of the crowd of thousands, the family Newman Police Corporal Ronil Singh leaves behind.
It's just unfortunate we lost a role model. Our kids, the grandkids lost a role model.
But memories of Corporal Singh will last. The community who came together on a cold December night say they'll make sure of it.
Friends remembering Officer Singh as a proud immigrant from Fiji. A Washington state resident staying at a Portland hotel was kicked out for making a phone call in the hotel lobby. Jermaine Massey says he was targeted because he's black. Massey was staying at the Portland DoubleTree, and while making a phone call in the lobby on his cell to his mom, a hotel security guard accused him of loitering and called the cops.
These situations hurt people. They make them feel excluded from the rest of society, and that's not how it should happen.
Hilton, which owns DoubleTree, has put the employees involved on leave, and an investigation is underway. You're listening to ABC News.
Here's what's happening in the Valley. The Mahoney County Commissioners continue to discuss ways to keep the GM Lordstown plant going. They passed a resolution in support of the plant yesterday at their final meeting of the year. Commissioner Anthony Trafficani says they're fighting to keep the plant open by reaching out to higher decision makers and even GM CEO Mary Barra. Lordstown Village Council will have to wait until Wednesday, January 2nd to possibly approve a 10-year tax abatement for the TJX project. 27 First News reports Council was supposed to give final approval last night at a special session. However, TJX wants changes made to the language in the deal as well as some clarification. Among the changes wanted were firm dates for the construction timetable and a specific number of workers. Camel Police Chief Dennis Piskarczyk has been put on paid administrative leave following concerns of problems within the department's evidence locker. For the time being, Lieutenant Kevin Safara will continue as acting chief. BCI has taken over the investigation. And with New Year's celebrations coming up and drinks being served, a lot of people are warning others about drinking and driving. But what about the next day when you wake up with a hangover? AAA says don't drive drunk and don't drive hungover. They say driving hungover can be just as dangerous as being drunk behind the wheel and advises to find a ride or use a ride-sharing service to get where you need to go. In sports, in the NBA, Miami over the Cavs, 118-94. The Cavs take on Atlanta tonight, 7 o'clock airtime on the Sports Animal 1390 WNIO. On the ice, Pittsburgh takes on Minnesota tonight. The Youngstown Phantoms, they beat Cedar Rapids 3-2. They take on Waterloo tonight. College basketball, both the YSU men and women in action yesterday. The men lost to Detroit 78-66, and the women beat Detroit 85-59. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Our next update at 2:30. Just ahead, more stimulating talk from the O'Charley's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charley's.
Don't be left out in the cold this winter. Call Mazza Heating in Girard, your factory authorized Bryant dealer.
Colder and mostly cloudy temperatures will only make it to the mid-30s this afternoon. Very small risk for a light snow shower or flurry. Mostly cloudy tonight with temperatures back into the upper 20s. A cold start to the day on Sunday, but temperatures will climb to the upper 30s with partly sunny skies. In the Storm Team 27 Weather Center, I'm Alex George.
Message and data rates may apply. T&C and privacy terms can be found at babbel.com/terms. Please don't text and drive.
Learning a language doesn't have to be difficult, especially with Babbel. Whether you want to learn Spanish, French, or Polish, Babbel will get you speaking right away.
Learning Spanish has always been one of my New Year's resolutions. I kept telling myself, I'll start tomorrow. One day, I heard a Babbel ad and decided to finally give it a try.
Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons can fit into any busy schedule. And if you do just one lesson a day, your language skills will improve.
I was intimidated, but Babbel made it easy. I did just 1 or 2 lessons a day, and within a few weeks, I was already beginning to have conversations.
Babbel's spaced repetition method gradually builds your language skills, so you intuitively remember what you've learned, all through fun, easy-to-follow lessons. Try Babbel for free. Download the app or text HAPPY to 484848. Text HAPPY to 484848 to try Babbel for free. That's HAPPY to 484848.
The Mahoning Valley Gun Collectors Show this Saturday and Sunday from 9 till 4 at the Lowellville Rod and Gun Club, just off Route 224 Quarry Road. Gun collectors and enthusiasts, guns, arms, military, and collectibles buy, sell, or trade at the Mahoning Valley Gun Collectors Show.
For lunch and special occasions, it's Overture's Restaurant with chef extraordinaire Jeff Crystal, downtown next to the Dior Performing Arts Center.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show, hour number 2. We're here for a full segment today. Welcome, everyone, during the holiday season here. I hope everybody's having a good one, nice and relaxing. This was the least relaxing holiday season we've had. Usually, business dies down a little bit, so we take a break, and because I can't really find any customers that want to be in the office long enough for me to do anything. Now, last year was about the same, where everybody kind of knew that business was really good, and then they wanted to make some capital improvements towards the end of the year before taxes. And so, we started doing that early enough in the year. This year, it was like everybody was kind of holding their breath a little bit, and then right at the end said, okay, we want to do some capital. So we only had a couple weeks to field those out and get equipment set up and stuff like that. So it led us into working, right up to the wire of 2018. We even have, finishing off projects on the very last day on Monday. And then we'll be done from 2018. But, like I said, that's really good. I mean, manufacturing is still kicking on all cylinders. You got marketing and sales. Everybody's noticed that the sellers, as much as we complain about, aggressive salespeople, that means something here. When you have people that do it for a living and are good at it, and you feel the salesiness, that means the business is happening, right? So I might complain about it, but that means without that activity, that means that the professional salespeople are doing that elsewhere, and they're not wasting their time in the area. So that kind of makes me happy in a way that salespeople did get aggressive for a little while, and we noticed it. And like I said, it's not all bad because it means things are happening, and I love that momentum. All right, let's take a phone call here. Let's go to Nate next. Nate, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
Yes, how are you doing? Am I coming through okay?
You are okay on all cylinders.
Excellent. Love the show, and that call, I'll tell you, it's great. Appreciate what you're doing. Getting to the point, I bought a Levino. It was one of those like $99 or $100 computers last year, 4 gig of RAM, and it Windows 10 Pro, the whole bit. Was working great, and it still does, but it has really just been slowing down like crazy. And I have a lot of tabs opened on my browser through Chrome. I'm wondering, how do I get rid of, when I go to the diagnostics, it says the RAM's like almost maxed out every time. I actually moved Facebook off to another computer, a Dell computer that has 8 gig, to see if that helped, and it's okay. But it just really, really is sluggish now. Any ideas on how to clean that up? Is there something that I'm missing in that queue, so to speak, or not cache, I should say? I don't know the terminology.
Sure. Okay, so the way that most of us get the lower-end machines is they're heavily subsidized with software that gets loaded up by the manufacturer. So if you had a Lenovo and it was only a couple $100, it probably came with a bunch of software that Lenovo got paid to put in front of you. So one of the first things we do is we'll remove all of that subsidy software because it just clogs the machine up. There used to be a program called Decrapifier. Yeah, of course, in our industry, we call something Decrapifier. But what that'll do is that will take all of those startup applications and en masse just kind of get rid of them. So have you reloaded the thing since you've had it?
No, I have not, and I've heard of the program. I didn't know it was still in existence, but you're right. There's all stuff, games, and things that I don't ever use.
All right, I'm looking at their site right now, and it still exists. So give that a shot. If you can't do that, you can reset it, where you can tell Windows to go ahead and just keep profile stuff, but go ahead and refresh the computer. That's in Control Panel. Or you can just go through Add and Remove Programs and pretty much remove everything that isn't necessary, that you didn't personally buy or you don't personally use. That'll help clean it up a little bit, because really 4 gigs should be enough for that computer to go. I mean, you're sort of at minimum. So your hard drive is probably relatively slow. The memory is probably not all that super expensive, and the processor is probably a little under spec. But if you keep it nice and clean, where there's not much on it and you don't have that other stuff, it should really bring it back a whole lot.
Perfect, and that's what I was looking for. That's a great answer, because all I'm trying to do is do some WordPress stuff, try and create some WordPress plugins, those types of things, but those don't take a lot of memory. I mean, I understand if you get in the video and you get some rendering and games, that's going to be pretty heavy duty.
For sure.
But I'm just not doing that right now. So, but I was just like, every time I turn on Windows, it is like I got to wait 10 minutes for it to do its thing. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
And I run the Windows, and I run the antivirus software, and I did, from your last suggestion, use Malwarebytes as well to kind of clean things up too. So that is absolutely, man, we'll try that, and I really do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for calling, Nate. Appreciate it. Have a good New Year.
All right. Have a great New Year. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. All right. And so, the theory is, I mean, you really don't have to throw a bunch of hardware at every utility. Okay, so when Dell sends me an email that says we've got some i3s that are refurbished for $100, when I buy that, I'm not expecting to get a barn burner delivered to me. I'm thinking that I'm going to have like a really low tier that I could either throw a very thin version of Linux on that's going to run pretty fast, or I'm just going to have the freshest, cleanest version of Windows that I possibly can. I don't want anything that's I'll turn off things like transitions, like menu transitions, so that the video is less cumbersome. So the first thing you want to do is clean it up so that all the software's out there. If you wanted to ratchet up the next step, you can put something like a solid-state drive in it and then restore it onto the solid-state drive, images of the solid-state drive, because that's going to add some too. You want to take pressure off of the components that aren't real great. And, let's just say Windows takes up 60 gigs, and you find a really good price on a 120 gig solid-state drive for $40 somewhere. All right, well, it might be halfway worth it to throw the solid-state drive in there, load up Windows on the solid-state drive, nice, fresh, clean, fast hard drive, right? Just Windows on there, and it will, your browser will run like a dream. Now, the processor is no better than it was when the other stuff was on there, and the memory is no better than it was when the lost it. But the difference is, when you buy that computer with the subsidy software on there, you're allowing somebody else to run their software on your machine, and you're paying the consequence for it. You get to run on a slow machine because that other crap is also running. Best way to get it, reload the sucker or uninstall it and remove it. And let me know if Decrapifier still works out there. I'm kind of interested, because that was sort of our go-to. It did so well, and it was so simple. I'm just curious as if it still works. So thanks for the phone call. Let's go to Scott next. Scott, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
Hey, I appreciate it. I have a question. I got an HP in July of this year, and I'm trying. Lately, it's just been, well, it started out I had a sound card go bad last month. So I turned it back in, and they replaced the sound card. And, of course, without telling me, they wiped everything on my computer without me knowing it and mailed it back to me. But I'm trying to, excuse me, getting back together, but I'm getting about a jillion error messages, and it keeps shutting itself down. And like I said, it's only 6 months old. I get a memory management error, a bad pool header error, a kernel security check error, and a system service exception. I've been trying to write it down before I can take it back to Best Buy, but it's driving me up a freaking tree. It just keeps turning itself off. Blue screen of death.
Okay. So see, this is ridiculous that my industry isn't better at doing this kind of stuff. My first question is, a sound card, if it went bad, why did it go bad? Okay. So did it short out? There was something touch it, whatever? And then my next question is, what else went bad too, right? So if something was big enough to make the sound card go bad, what if it took out some memory along with it, or took out a capacitor with it and so on and so forth. Usually when you have a sound card go bad, it's not the last component in a sequence of death, right? So what I would do is if you can help it, you let them know that something major must have happened with this. And is there any way, rather than doing a repair on it, if you could just get another model, because something significant happened to the machine, and see if you can just start over. And then they can figure out what all components went down for the count. But I wouldn't be a guinea pig, because as soon as you fix, it sounds like a bad stick of memory. So you replace the memory. And then you might be the motherboard next. And then the power, it just might be that way.
Right.
So, yeah, I'd see if they can get rid of the whole thing for you. That would probably be your safest bet.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's just so frustrating. Like I said, it's 6 months old, and all of a sudden I'm turning it in to get it turned in, and it's like it's a solid-state drive. And I don't have the specs on me right now, but it has decent stuff in it, and it's just like falling to crap on me.
Yep. All right. So good luck to you. I hope you're able to get something done.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Thanks, Scott. And I will tell you, we have a bench. We run repairs. You can ask us how many sound cards have just gone bad, and the answer is absolutely zero. The sound card is really basic. There's not much to it. And so it's not likely that it just went bad because mechanical, engineering defects or something like that. And that's why my first guess would be like, hey, you know what? And this used to happen a lot with LCD screens. So you get a power inverter on an LCD screen. So that was like a little device, little box in the back of the computer that would step down the voltage so that the LCD would display. Well, these power inverters would go bad. And so, yeah, we could go buy a power inverter, no problem. So what's the chances of we buying a new one, putting it in your laptop, and then that one getting burnt out the same way that the first one did? Because I'm not really interested. I know it's bad, but I want to know what caused it. What could have happened to this machine that could have made that little component go bad? Because the worst thing in the world is you got $300 into a repair and then find out that where you technically replaced the component that was bad, you didn't isolate what caused the thing to go bad in the first place. So again, thanks for the phone call. I appreciate it. Let's go through some topics here. And I hope this is. I kind of told you guys last week that in the beginning of Youngstown Computer, about 90% of the work that came through our door were virus infections, right? And so that kept us busy. We didn't do a whole lot of builds, or we weren't managing networks or doing as much of that stuff because there was just so much work in the whole cleaning stuff up. We mastered it. We had processes that would take a computer that was infected and deliver a computer that wasn't infected but still had your stuff on it. So we got good at that. Our competition was good at like reloading your machine. So you got infected and they reloaded you and they handed you back a reloaded computer. We tried not to do that because that's what everybody else was doing. But if we would have just stood there and not changed and said, okay, eventually somebody is going to figure out how to not let these computers get infected. So either Microsoft's going to change something, or some antivirus is going to change something, or somebody's going to change something where 90% of our business might disappear tomorrow, right? So we started developing what we thought we're going to have next. It's sort of in this industry and in business in general, you sort of get to a standard where what was hard yesterday, right, is expected today. And so, when we're talking about what we want for the future of Youngstown, some of the hurdles that seem to be really, killers now, we're going to get by them, and then our expectations are going to be above that level. And so the way that we assemble, what happens in Youngstown is we have to make some progress, talk about the progress was made, and then let's keep going forward and not lose any of the progress that's being made. I see this happen a lot, not just in our area, but other areas where like we'll get comfortable and then we'll get complacent and then we'll slide back down the hill and we start again the next time at the very bottom. Why did we take for granted that first level? I want us to expect it, but I don't want us to take it for granted, right? We still have to work to have that level, level there. So, before, if I needed to do, I'm not worried about an example, but suffice it to say that the level is we want our operating system to defend itself against viruses. So it's only in rare circumstances that you get infected. We don't want upgrades to happen every year. We want software and hardware to be to a level where you don't have to keep replacing stuff so often. Eventually, you're going to have to replace the computers are going to cost X amount of dollars, and you're not going to mind replacing because it's just a utility. It's like buying a cardboard box. Those are the different stepping stones, because every time one of those things happen, it becomes less of the focus, and you can build things on top of it. And so, like I said, if we would have got stuck and all we ever did was do spyware cleanups or malware cleanups or virus cleanups, the bigger stuff, the engineering stuff, would have never taken a foothold. So thanks for that. 330-729-9977. I do want to tell you this, that I've been keeping you up to date. In November, I made the declaration that I wanted to be a hardware provider. I wanted to have Youngstown Computer and a computer build that we were responsible for. It was our thing. And after that declaration, because I sold Dell almost for 8 years just because they did it better. There was no money in it. There was no margin. Nobody really wanted to do that. And then, prices climbed. They lost their advantage instead of being completely industry standard, they were, integrated all to get out. They even started integrating the power supplies. So we decided we're going to do this. We're selling a lot of computers. I'd rather spend the money here and pay our guys to do the assembly. I went out to you guys and said, hey, it's going to be a couple more bucks than you can get off the shelf, but we're going to manufacture computers here in Youngstown. And, where we were going maybe 2 or 3 a week, we went to 4 or 5 a week. And now whatever I order, I sell. It amazingly, like I said, I'm going to really throw it this time. I'm going to order 10 of them this week and see how long they sit in my store. They're almost gone in an instant. So very proud of our marketplace for saying, that Joe, he talks about these computers. I want one of those suckers because I want to support the endeavor of manufacturing stuff in Youngstown, Ohio. So thank you, everybody, for that. I just want to tell you it's going amazing. So more of your calls next, 330-729-9977. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be right back.
It's the biggest music festival of the year, and it's coming to the CW.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Don't miss the iconic performances.
Justin Timberlake. Mariah Carey. We've got Fleetwood Mac here. You've been incredible, and I've been Jack White.
Powerful moments.
Tonight, we are all proud to be Vegas Strong. Love this city. Love everything it stands for. Plus, some special surprises you are not going to want to miss.
Watch our must-see iHeartRadio Music Festival tomorrow night and Monday night on WBCB, The Valley CW.
Spectacular 2019, Sunday, January 13th at Mr. Anthony's. Doors open at noon, fashion show at 2:30, featuring Matina's Bridal of Beechwood and the Rondinelli Tuxedo Company on the Studio Oxygen Yoga stage. Hair and makeup by Magnolias on the green. Brides, thousands of dollars in prizes are up for grabs from all show exhibitors. You don't want to miss it. Complete event details can be found at bridalspectacularonline.com. Some restrictions apply. Abisher's Jewelry presents Bridal Spectacular 2019, Sunday, January 13th at Mr. Anthony's, proudly promoted by iHeartMedia and 33 WYTV.
In cooperation with Something New Florist and Events, Brian Price Wedding Entertainment, Courtyard by Marriott Canfield, Boardman Printing, I Do So You Don't Have To, Fab Limousines, Bed Bath & Beyond, TR Party Center, DNR Audio and Entertainment. Get complete details at bridalspectacularonline.com, a Roz One promotion.
If your business is healthcare, you care about attracting the right customers. With 1 in 2 people looking to improve their health in the new year, now is the time to advertise. Getting healthy, feeling, and looking better are always at the top of the resolution list. Give your campaign a healthy start with iHeartRadio. We reach 93% of Americans, and 7 out of 10 people research your business after hearing your radio ad. Make it your resolution to grow your business with iHeart. Visit iHeartWorks.com. That's iHeartWorks.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show, and for the first time in ever, we're going to try to check out the First Night Youngstown that's going on downtown. This is not a spot. I'm just kind of delving into this. I know really nothing about it other than it's a something that, a bunch of entertainment venues that are strung together on New Year's, that if you want to support things that are happening down Youngstown, this is the way to do it. I've never been to, I don't know anything about, so I can't vouch for any of this. But we're going to buy our wristbands on Monday to check this stuff out. You can get them down at Cavelli, Wow, the Mayor's Office, Encore Consignment Shop, Ron's Sign Shop, Satelli Carpet, Gianna's Candy, Kim's Confection, St. Pat's Church Rectory, Maggie's Magic Muffins. all of those places you can buy your wristbands for First Night Youngstown and check out. I guess there's going to be bands, entertainment. I mean, you can just really spend the whole evening down in Youngstown, and they have this busing that goes from venue to venue that takes you around to all kinds of stuff. And I believe that the museum, the butler, all of those guys are doing something to participate in First Night. But again, I'm going to check this out and see how it all, and see if Dave just told me in my ear that his church does the Harry Potter experience. So lots of stuff going on. So please check it out. Join me downtown. Wristbands are $10 for 13 and up. 12 and under are free, and you can get them down at any participating place downtown, or you can get them at any one of the venues the night of. So maybe spend some of your New Year's Eve dollars downtown hanging out with all of us, supporting those venues downtown. 330-729-9977. Let's go to Tom next. Tom, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
I'm in the car, so I'm not home, but you've serviced my computer twice, and you've done such a wonderful job, and you guys are great. But I got you guys got me a new monitor, and I can't get the volume up. I'm just wondering if I'm dumb or if I don't know what I'm doing, but I've gone down that icon on the bottom and gone to 100%, and I just can't get a volume out of it. Is there something I should be doing?
Is it a monitor that has a set of speakers? So
No.
not all monitors have speakers built in. Some of them don't. And best way to tell, if you're looking at the back side of the monitor, you'll actually have an input for, it's usually either going to be a black or a green 1/8-inch cable, audio 1/8-inch cable. If you have one of those, all you have to do is run an audio cable from the back of the computer into the back of the monitor, and then you'll have music. Otherwise, you'll have to get separate speakers and then run it from the sound card out to a separate set of speakers.
Okay. But like I said, I'm so glad I found you guys, because like I said, you've taken great care of me, and I just got this monitor about a couple of months ago, and when I watch something or listen to something, I just can't hear it. So I'll try that.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Tom. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good holiday. And so, not every, like I said, I think we sell two different styles. I think we have an AOC monitor that has speakers, and then we have a ViewSonic that does not have speakers. And both are the same size. They're both 24-inch monitors. So if, like I said, if you don't have speakers it built into the monitor, and usually speakers that are built into the monitor are usually not that great as far as how they sound. I always have a preference that have some kind of external speakers. They had these Logitech speakers that will hang on the back of the monitor, and then you plug in USB. Those sound much better than the ones that they build into the monitors. But if you do have one, it's pretty easy to get your sound card connected into there. And that's my best guess as to that's all that's happening, is that either it doesn't have it or it's not plugged in. So either one of those, check those out. And then let's get back to my topics here again. Okay. So again, these are topics that are going to be at the Consumer Electronics Showcase in January, and we're applying those same topics to stuff that's going on in the city of Youngstown, and how we can sort of make jumps and leaps towards these things as we sort of build our, put our plan together for the coming years. Design. Okay, this is a big one, and I have, we're personally connected with 3D printing companies. So design's pretty important to us as far as where, the technology goes on 3D printing. They're printing in plastics, they're printing in ceramics, they're printing in metals. The company that we're teamed up with prints an AMClad, which is a hybrid between sort of like a metal/stone type of thing. And so we have all of this ability. The machines are printing in all these different medias. And so when we're putting our creative people in, what are we going to use these things for? So the company Fresh Made 3D, the company that we teamed up with, they printed a bunch of sort of props like you would have C.S. Lewis props. So they took some things that were in the books and they themed a library with those props. So it was a great application where somebody had to design what the props looked like, and you had to go in AutoCAD, and then we printed them in AMCLAD. And now if you go to this, I believe it was in Tennessee, this library in Tennessee, they have like props of the C.S. Lewis books on display. So pretty amazing stuff, and it originated here in good old Youngstown, Ohio. All right, we'll take a break, come back. You're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN.
Bring in the new year with big savings from Menards. Pick up the power you need with Energizer. Right now, Menards has big savings on Energizer Max alkaline batteries. The alkaline technology gives you long-lasting, consistent energy. A 20-pack of AA or AAAs, an 8-pack of Cs or Ds, or a 4-pack of 9-volt Energizer batteries are just $9.95 each. Now during Menards' New Year's sale. Prices are good through January 5th.
Save big money at Menards.
Here's what's happening in the Valley. Campbell Police Chief Dennis Piskarczyk has been put on paid administrative leave following concerns of problems within the department's evidence locker. For the time being, Lieutenant Kevin Safara will continue as acting chief. BCI has taken over the investigation. Lordstown Village Council will have to wait until Wednesday, January 2nd to possibly approve a 10-year tax abatement for the TJX project. 27 First News reports Council was supposed to give final approval last night at a special session. However, TJX wants changes made to the language in the deal as well as some clarification. Among the changes wanted were firm dates for the construction timetable and a specific number of workers. The Mahoney County Commissioners continue to discuss ways to keep the GM Lordstown plant going. They passed a resolution in support of the plant yesterday at their final meeting of the year. Commissioner Anthony Trafficani says they're fighting to keep the plant open by reaching out to higher decision makers and even GM CEO Mary Barra. From the Power Chevrolet Buick GMC of Calcutta, Ohio newsroom, I'm Dave Price.
Our next update at 3.
For that perfect gift, visit Deneen's Jewelry and Gifts, 822 North State Street, Girard.
Colder and mostly cloudy temperatures will only make it to the mid-30s this afternoon. Very small risk for a light snow shower or flurry. Mostly cloudy tonight with temperatures back into the upper 20s. A cold start to the day on Sunday, but temperatures will climb to the upper 30s with partly sunny skies. In the Storm Team 27 Weather Center, I'm Alex George.
Message and data rates may apply.
When did it become okay for men to be lazier, softer, fatter? We need to bring the men of this country back to greatness. And it's easier than ever with Ageless Male Max, a patent-pending formula with an ingredient that helps boost your total testosterone, promoting greater increases in muscle size and twice the reduction of body fat percentage than exercise alone. Plus, an amazing 64% increase in nitric oxide, which can be handy in the gym and in the bedroom. Take your manhood to the max by trying your first 30-day bottle free. Just pay shipping and handling. Not 10 days, not 15 days, but a full 30-day supply free when you text the word SPEED to 797979. Finally, a formula that boosts total testosterone. If your results with Ageless Male Max are too intense, please decrease use. For your free bottle, text SPEED to 797979. Text SPEED to 797979.
Just ahead, more stimulating talk from the O'Charley's Digital Studios. $9.99 menu, 9 great meals, 1 great price. O'Charley's. 570 WKBN.com. Driven by Donnell Ford. Boardman and DonnellFord.com. The only place where you can discover the Donnell difference.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. We're talking about things that are happening in tech, how it relates to things that are going on in Youngstown, and we have so much going for us, and I'm looking to keep prodding it forward and making sure that we complete the cycle where we have a willing and participating, consumer base. Everybody who lives here lives and breathes participation. So when we have choices to support people that are in the local area over people that are performing nationally, that we always pick local first. Then we have our politicians that we're bringing in the opportunities into town and making sure that there's some loyalties that are and relationships that are forged so that we can just do business with people this way going forward. We're easy to deal with. We market ourselves well. We talk about ourselves well. Really key, important to changing the overall state of mind of how we feel about ourselves, and then the rest of the world starts to feel about us or better about us like as we do. 330-729-9977. Let's go to Art next. Art, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
How you doing?
Good.
Question. You know a local app builder?
An app builder?
Yeah.
I have a group. Joe Dunko is basically my go-to when it comes to all things developers. Do you have a project in mind? Do you want me to hand off? Or
yes.
Are you looking to hire, or what's your thing?
I need somebody to make an app for me.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'd be more than happy. Joe Dunko is sort of a broker of talent when it comes to development. He's involved or runs a group of maybe 20 or 30 individual different platforms, different technologies. And so if you brought a project to them, he would sort of help shop and I think they do it as sort of independent contractors, depending if you needed Java or you needed something else built, he'd be the best to put your hands into. So I'll get you in touch with them.
You got my number, or are you?
Why don't you email me, joe@youngstowncomputer.com, and share your details with me, and I'll forward that over to Joe Dunko if you get you in touch with him.
Unless I talked to General Motors, they're not moving. They're just going to retool the buildings.
Okay. All right. Good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Art. Appreciate it. And that it's good news that if they shut down and retool and give it another look, intentions wise, I mean, I don't know why you do something scary and scare the crap out of everybody who lives here with the threat of you not being here anymore. I mean, look at the ripples that happen with the other companies that have also reacted the same way. So I'm hopeful that our last caller was right, that they really don't have intentions. I don't know why they would. I mean, they have such, they have good management here, and they have the labor force here is just amazing. The support from the communities. I mean, there's really not a good reason other than that the product that they have isn't doing well in a market where gas is so cheap. They need gas to be more expensive for the demand for that product to go up. We get that, but I don't know that you give the rest of that stuff up. So thanks for the call, appreciate it. Next thing is content. This is my favorite, and I think we have the biggest in. You're going to see Joe put all of his might into making sure that we develop as much content in the city of Youngstown as we possibly can. We have such specialized people. Like I said before, we have the creative, we have the artists, and the studio that I put downtown, the whole intent was, okay, well, we're listening to music and we're buying it from outside world. We have great musicians here. How are those musicians getting into the sort of the national spotlight? Because it's a competitive deal. So if you're a live performer and you're cutting your own records and you're putting them on iTunes, or you're trying to get people to buy that way, I would really love, and there's a local music scene, no doubt, and so if we had a way to helping them, musicians and people that make stuff, to be able to get a local distribution, a way to just do it local first, right, and shop it local and buy it local and distribute it local first, and then maybe that helps catapult them into the national scene rather than go national right away. So I was talking to a guy yesterday who loves doing sports commentary, and he lives, breathes, dreams about sports. And I think gears start turning. I'm like, okay, well, I got to unleash this guy in front of a camera, in front of a microphone, to see if what he has to say, what comes out of his mouth, is valuable enough that when he starts saying it, people listen, right? And what are the alternatives? If a guy who's good at that, what does he do? He can get in front of his computer, and he can turn on his microphone, and he can turn on his camera and start doing that, right? And chances are we're creating the content, but if you're doing that, if you're recording stuff, how many listeners do you have to justify the time that you're spending in the den recording these things? Maybe you get 7, maybe you get 100. Is that enough? Are you making an impact? Are you practicing your craft? And then what's the next step up? Okay, do you really know how to engage a national audience, or is it something that develops on its own? Most of the time the answer is no, where if you're just doing it, you're doing it for fun and it's a hobby. Well, I'm looking at it as we've got this talent who needs to, some of these people should be on a national stage, and we'll never really just get there because there's not a clear path that takes you from doing it, practicing it, and then doing it professionally. They'll always just do it as a hobby where they're making concessions on the monetary side because they're not, you're not going to make much money with 70 listeners, but maybe you will with 700 or 7,000 or 70,000, right? So the studio downtown is to take some of these people, give people a crack at getting in front of the microphone and see if their content is good enough to be able to put them in bigger and bigger stages. So again, content creation is my favorite. Everything from the 10-year-old person, 10-year-old kid who wants to put together gaming videos and have other 10-year-old kids watch them game and get millions of viewers. That kid that unboxes toys and puts a YouTube video out and has these millions of people that watch them. That's what gets cited over and over again. Well, that didn't happen by chance. I mean, other people can do that too. Everybody has sort of like their thing, their interesting thing, right? Mine would be computers. So if I started doing it as a 15-year-old kid, it'd probably be about things that in tech. But your interests too are marketable. And if I put you in front of a microphone and you in front of a camera and said, do your thing, whatever you was talking about or doing it, woodworking or whatever, you're an inventor, all of this stuff, we have really people that are really good at doing stuff so that we can create really good content that we can throw out there on the web and try to develop some audiences and get people started doing what they love and doing it in a way that, is meaningful, that they don't just have to do it as a hobby. Maybe they can do it as their main gig. So that really excites me to be able to take our local talent and put them out in front of a national eye, and maybe we get something started there. So a lot of what we do downtown is going to be sort of revolving around that. Esports, and this is a cool one because if you don't know that with regular, schools participating in regular sports, basketball, baseball, whatever, we're a big sports town here. Esports are also sort of becoming a thing where schools are participating and competing in tournaments against other schools in esports, which is sports that are on your devices, your gaming consoles. And what's important about that is that tournament play is a pretty big deal. I don't play games, so it's really hard for me to connect with that market. But when I watch it, I mean, this is a fanatical group. They take their gaming serious. It's a science behind it. There's practice behind it. I mean, it's not something where a bunch of people are just wasting a bunch of time. I mean, it's competitive gaming where they have sponsorships and they have participations with, hardware vendors and software. There's lots of business that can happen from this. So my idea is to bring a gaming tournament to Youngstown. And, we've flirted with this for a number of years, and I don't know that if I said, hey, I'm going to do one at the Cavelli Center, that I could get enough people to show up in the short term. So I've got to sort of create that environment here. Where do I think we have kids that play games in this area? Yep. Do I think that I could put together a tournament to get them to play against one another? Yep. Do I think I can, if I've given maybe a year to construct that maybe by the end of 2019, that maybe we could do it? Yep. So you're going to see me hold a couple of smaller tournaments. So the first one that I'm going to do down at my studio in Youngstown, I'm going to have, I built a cage. And if you follow me on Facebook, it's a 5-sided cage. And on each side of the cage is a screen. And then there's a little shelf for a monitor and keyboard. This cage is sort of like a pod, and a gamer walks up with his gaming rig, which is computer, and he puts it in front of his side of the cage. He plugs it in, gets a network connection. He's got his game on the monitor, his keyboard, his mouse, his joystick, or whatever we're playing, and now he's competing against those other 5 people in front of the cage. We have a tournament, right? So the first one I'm doing, I'm taking 2 people, and I haven't selected them yet, and I haven't selected the game yet, but I'm going to have one of these mini tournaments here. We take 2 people from our public, and we're going to stream both the game and the players so that all of you out there in the public can watch this thing go down. And it's only going to take me 2 people to do. I'm putting up the prize money, and we'll see how this works out. If the players love it and they walk up to it and they could see themselves doing more of these games, down the road, we can have tournament play, team play. We can make it a big deal where it's the spectator sport too. That's the biggest part of this. Is I've watched some of these tournaments, and it's really cool for the players, and it's really hard to watch. There's so many players, and there's so much going on. Like, what do you watch? What am I tracking? I mean, is it a scoreboard that I'm just watching someone do well, or I'm just there because I know someone that's playing and I'm cheering them on? I want it to be a spectator sport where you're watching something happen where there are less players, but it's maybe like the circus, when they come to town, they have maybe 5 things that you can look at, but you can pay attention to one of them and follow it from start to finish. That's sort of what I'm seeing here, where if I had part of a tournament where there's 4 players and you can watch the scoreboard and watch all of them play, and it's enough activity to keep you interested, but not so much that it's overwhelming. That's what I'm kind of going for. So these mini tournaments will be sprouting up over the spring and summer, and maybe by fall we'll have a big tournament going on. So send people my way if you have somebody that's interested. We kind of picked out our first game. I'm not going to announce it yet until I've got proper licensing and I'm able to do it in a tournament setting rather than just a private setting. But stay tuned for that kind of stuff because I'm excited. 330-729-9977. Let's go to Adam next. Adam, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
Yes, like your program, listen to it every time I can. My question is about a NAS server, Network Area Storage Server.
Okay.
My question is, when you go to, eventually it gets full. Depends on how many terabytes you get. How do you permanently save what you put on it? And my other question is how do you protect it from viruses?
Okay. All right. So I'm going to put you on hold there. I'm getting some feedback on your line, but let me try to answer your question. So network attached storage is pretty much a really low spec computer. It usually is housed in a little box that has a bunch of hard drives that are connected in there. And its whole purpose is to make those hard drives accessible from the network. So you have a little controller board on there and you have some storage on there. You usually plug it into your network and then you have a little web interface that you can see what drives are in there. And then those drives are shared just like they would be on a computer, where you can get to shared folders and you can have permissions on there and so on and so forth. Most of them use RAID to be able to use multiple drives. So either you get 3 drives in a NAS and it's managed like a server where you don't see 3 individual drives, they're combined. And that way, if one of the drives fails, that you have a second drive. So that's probably your, like a RAID 5 or a RAID 1 is primarily where you're most likely to find a NAS. Now, to answer your question, if it were to fill up, it just means same thing on your computer. You're either going to have to go through there and delete some stuff to free up some space, or you can take like an external drive and you can copy stuff and archive it. So from time to time, maybe once a year, we'll go through there and we'll take some 2017 stuff and we'll move it to an archive, and it frees a bunch of space up on the NAS. And so if you wanted to add space, then what you would do is take an external drive and you would back up your stuff, and then you'd put new, bigger drives in there. Let the RAID put your stuff back, and then you restore your data back onto the NAS, having additional space. So let me get you back on the line. Adam, did I answer your question?
Yes. What I'm looking at is 40 terabytes. So with RAID 1, it would be 20. Of course, it's half. So I think we'll be okay. The other question is, what about viruses?
You're going to have to protect it just like you would anything else, because the only way to spread to it is where if it were on your computer and you looked at the NAS as an S drive and then you got infected and it traveled to S drive, well, you're just going to need to be able to restore that data back. So normally our NASs will keep an external drive plugged in, and it is nightly it's backing it up. Or else you could also have a second NAS and have the NASs synchronize with one another and back things up that way. So you protect it just like you would any other computer, just make sure there's some redundancy.
What about antiviruses?
Well, you want to do that on the local computer so that it doesn't travel, but none of the NASs I know of that will have any local antivirus. It's not active that way.
Okay, and also you could. Is Western Digital a good brand of them, of a NAS, or?
Yeah, we use Western Digital, Seagate, and Buffalo. Those are 3 good brands.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too, Adam. Thank you so much for the phone call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Wayne next. Wayne, you're on the Youngstown Computer Show. How can I help you?
Hi, Joe.
Hi.
I recently bought a new computer. It seems as though the monitor stays in sleep mode because I see it nighttime. Daytime, I can't see it very well. it seems like in daytime I can see a light under the right front that flashes off and on, off and on.
Okay, so it could be happening. It might not be the monitor itself. The computer might be turning the monitor off. So if you can go into power management under control panel and you can tell it not to do that when it's plugged in, it's trying to save you battery life or waste electricity. So sometimes it has the ability to turn the monitor off. If that doesn't do it, if you go into power settings and that's already taken off, you might have to go through the menu of the monitor and also have some power controls in the monitor. It's going to be one of the two, either power controls on the computer or power controls on the monitor.
Okay, so then that is not normal for that to be doing that, correct?
Well, no, that's by default. Usually they'll do that. Well, they'll put a timer where if something sits idle, it can go into power save mode. We just, sometimes it's a half hour, sometimes it's an hour, so on and so forth. But you want to check in both places, see which one's doing it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And that's these power controls are really good when you're on like battery, you have your laptop open, and you don't want to be burning battery just to keep the monitor on. So you walk away from it and the monitor is allowed to shut down. Well, those same power controls can be on there when it's physically plugged into the wall too. You're not really worried about burning the electricity or conserving the battery when it's physically plugged in. And these monitors, they don't use a whole lot of wattage to keep them running. I think it's 90 watt at most. Some of those power bricks, and probably significantly less. So that's how you turn that off. The next thing, let's see. Okay, digital content. And this sort of goes in line with the last one that we talked about. If you're creating streaming and allowing to monetize some of the stuff that you're doing, we also have the ability to. Well, let me skip this one for now, and we'll come back to this after we take the next break. I don't want to get too deep into it, but if you want to get on the phone lines, if you want to ask any questions after the break, 330-729-9977. And if you want to text me here at 330-333-1570, and I'll read some of those text messages. We got a couple of them that came in over that last segment, but more to come. We're listening to the Youngstown Computer Show on 570 WKBN. We'll be right back.
On airplanes, in restaurants, and then gradually it got to be where it wasn't anywhere. It's not part of the social norm anymore. It's not accepted. I was at a party this summer and there wasn't a single person smoking. Even in my own home, I had my own designated space to smoke. If I think about it, it really was like I was punishing myself. It was really a friend of mine that said, "Why wouldn't you just try the Juul?" And I thought, okay, I'll try it. And so I went out and I bought one. The idea of going back to smoking I couldn't even imagine doing that. I just don't enjoy it anymore. I don't think anyone, including myself, thought that I could switch.
Carolyn made the switch October 2016. Make the switch at Juul.com. That's JUUL.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Message and data rates may apply. T&C and privacy terms can be found at babbel.com/terms. Please don't text and drive.
Ever wonder why Europeans seem to speak so many languages? Maybe it's because they use Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Babbel's award-winning technology gets you speaking right away, whether you're learning Spanish, French, or German. And best of all, you'll remember what you've learned.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way.
Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you can be speaking confidently in your new language within weeks.
I was amazed that I could start having real-life conversations right away. It was so fast. And now I'm speaking Spanish. Woohoo!
No wonder Babbel is the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Try it for yourself and see why Babbel is the quick way to get conversational in a new language, like Spanish, French, or more. You can try Babbel for free. Download the app or text AUDIO to 484848. Text AUDIO to 484848 to try Babbel for free. That's AUDIO to 484848.
It's time to ring in the new year.
Let iHeartRadio provide the soundtrack for your New Year's Eve party. If you're hosting the party or just getting ready to head to the Big Bash, check out the iHeartRadio New Year's Eve party playlist. Sure to get you in the mood to welcome in 2019. Just tap playlist or search New Year's Eve party on your free iHeartRadio app. Happy New Year from iHeartRadio. Your music, your stations and podcasts, anytime, anywhere.
iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Youngstown Computer Show. Question was, what model of the digital antenna that you tested / used? That was the Clearstream. I don't know which model it was. It was the one that sort of has two segments. It's side-by-side segments, and it was amplified. This was it's intended to be mounted on the outside of the house, and I actually just mounted it on the inside of the house. And when I hooked it up to my receiver and scanned for channels, I would say that I got about 70 different hits on the scan. A lot of them were redundant. Some of them were the same networks and just different versions. So I'm guessing I had about 17 solid good channels, and I had some from Pittsburgh, I had a couple from Cleveland, and I had all of the ones from Youngstown. But it was Clearstream, and again, I didn't put it in optimal conditions. That was what was so profound with me, or for me, is that I didn't really even do it well, and I still got really good good results. So I'm wondering if I did put it on the outside of the house, nice high up and clear, what that would be like. Now, a lot of what we get is sort of like interference from the city. A lot of that spectrum is getting some disturbances. And so if you live in some parts of the city, you might not get it no matter what antenna that you have there. So getting away from the interference, putting on a big aerial like we used to have, might be your own way. I just happen to sit at the top of a hill. I'm like at the top of it's a really high point in the southern part of Youngstown here in Boardman and Poland, and so I'm benefiting even if I'm not real high up. I got not a lot of density, not a lot of competing things around me. So I think I'm getting better than average reception where I'm situated. But if you take that antenna and you put it on the outside, I can almost guarantee that you'll get way better than on the inside. But I'm telling you, I have two TVs in my place that I'm just running one of those really thin panel HD ones, and I'm getting all the Youngstown ones. I mean, no problems whatsoever. And both of them are amplified, so it basically has a little panel that you mount to the back of the TV. It has a little coaxial cable that you put in the back of to a little connector box, and the connector box goes into the back of the TV and also to a power cord. And so, it is amplified, but I get perfect signal. I can watch Fox, I can watch ABC, CBS, NBC. So all of the sports stuff, as long as it's not on NFL Network, I can grab just pretty much all the sports on regular TV. So I'm switched on the input for the regular antenna, let it scan off, and I've got all my channels. I'm not picking up any Pittsburgh ones with the $20 one, but if you just need the essentials, that little $20 one is plenty. And I'm on Best Buy's website right now, and I hate to even do that to you, but the same panel that I got for $20 from Amazon is like $50, and it's this one says a Leaf 50 amplified indoor HD antenna. It's the same one that I got that's on the back of mine, and like I said, I got it for $19.95 from Amazon, and it's one of their Amazon essential products. So I mean, it's zero problems with it. So if you don't go crazy and get the $120 one that I did, in the inside, you get one of the small panel ones. The range isn't going to get Pittsburgh or Cleveland, but it's going to get all your Youngstown ones solid. So again, Joe cut the cable a long time ago, maybe 2 years ago, and so I haven't had cable television to my house, and I have not missed anything. Like when I say I haven't missed it, it's not like I'm saying if I wanted to watch something, I could always get it, and I'm at a cheaper level. So I'm not giving up anything, and I'm getting all the programming that I did before. And I guess I'm still probably overpaying a little bit because I've got some overlap. I've got some channels that I'm getting with Sling TV and also with Hulu, right? So I'm paying two services, but it's still cheaper than when I was doing with cable. So if they could just get it so I can either commit to Hulu or commit to Sling, I'd even save me more. I bet you I would spend no more than $50 a month on television. I think that's exactly the sweet spot where we should be at. It's about $50 or less, and you get all the channels that you could ever want. There you go. And then if you want to pay for DVR and whatever, that's a whole different story. All right. Great show. Thank you so much, everybody, for the call-ins. They were spectacular, and being the last show of the new year, I hope everybody has a great, safe, awesome new year. We'll see you downtown for First Night Youngstown coming up in, 2 days now before the first of the year. So have a great one, everybody. We'll see you next year.
Want to go hiking this weekend?
Can we play catch, Dad?